Pittsburgh Steelers general manager Omar Khan, in an interview done today, leaks that a potential trade could be happening for a defensive line and a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But first, before I get more into what he said, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, there is many position groups for the Pittsburgh Steelers that is clearly a major area of need ahead of the 2025 season, but defensive line and the quarterback is amongst the top. And at the draft combine today, General Manager Omar Khan spoke to the reporters down in Indianapolis and talked about the areas of need for the Steelers and a potential trade that could be done to get more talent at each of those positions. So, let's look at what Omar Khan had to say about the defensive line group first before I move into the quarterback trade market. So, he said, "We weren't good enough down the stretch, but fortunately, we have the resources from a cap standpoint to address it. Maybe in free agency and maybe some trade candidates out there. And the draft is really good draft of the defensive line." End quote. So, Omar Khan says it right there. They have enough cap space to bring in someone either in free agency or in the trade market and absorb some cap space via trade. But also the defensive line is really good in the draft, so they may go that route as well. So looking at a potential trade of why the Pittsburgh Steelers might bring in someone, well, you look at outside of Cameron Heyward, who put up another first-team All-Pro season, the Steelers' defense line wasn't good for enough or much of the season at all, especially down the stretch when the Steelers lost 5 straight games to close out the regular season. They couldn't stop the run. It was a bit of a disappointing season for Keanu Benton in his second year, and also looking at Larry Ogunjobi, he may be a cap casualty in terms of someone who gets released to save up some cap space this offseason. So that means the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be looking for defensive linemen to fill in for Larry Ogunjobi and maybe just come in general, because Cameron Heyward is over 35 years old and he's in the later portions of his career. I know he just signed a contract last season, but he's still in the later portions of his career, so a trade could be done to move up in the draft, or maybe to just grab someone who's on the trade market, or grab someone in free agency. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking to upgrade their defense line group per Omar Khan, and it should start there because they just couldn't do anything to stop the run or create any pressure on the quarterback via the defensive line later towards the end of the season. And you're looking at what Andy Weidl wants to bring over from the Philadelphia Eagles. He wants to bring over that defensive line and offensive line kind of powerness that the Eagles have. And you look at all the defensive line that the Eagles have, they have rotation after rotation. They can sub one guy out, bring in another, and their defense line will be fine. And that's what the Steelers want to build here with Andy Weidl. So you look at why the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do it, that's the reason why. But General Manager Omar Khan basically says the Steelers are targeting defensive line this offseason and need to upgrade it. So, looking at another position group that the Pittsburgh Steelers want to upgrade, it's the quarterback position. Whether that's bringing back Justin Fields, whether that's re-signing Russell Wilson, or bringing in an outside quarterback, Omar Khan is open to all options. And Omar Khan was asked specifically about a trade for Matthew Stafford and how the Steelers are apparently interested in him. And he basically said, yes, the Steelers are going to be interested in outside options and open for trading for a quarterback. So here's what Omar Khan had to say. Here's his quote. "I'll say, like I said, all options are on the table. You know, we don't have one of our guys under contract. So I owe it to everyone to, keep all options on the table. I'm not going to say that's accurate or not, but all options are on the table." End quote. So that was specifically responding to a question about trading for Matthew Stafford and trading for a quarterback. So all options are on the table. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be looking at the trade market for a quarterback as well. So why would the Steelers be open for trading for a quarterback? Well, just like Omar Khan said, they don't have anyone under contract right now. What happens if Russell Wilson wants over $30+ million? Would you rather sign him for $30+ million or go trade for a quarterback in Matthew Stafford and give up whatever? Or are you going to bring in Justin Fields? Well, if he wants too much on his contract and you don't really want to pay him, then you may be looking at outside options for a quarterback. And Omar Khan basically says that, hey, we don't have one under contract. We're looking to win. We think we can still win a Super Bowl. So if that includes bringing in an outside quarterback via the trade market, getting one, and that helps our Super Bowl odds, then sure, I'm willing to do that. All options are on the table. So, me personally, would I give up a first round draft pick plus some for Matthew Stafford or a quarterback? Probably not. On top of having to pay him, what, like $50+ million a year? That's a big cap towards one position. Would I be willing to do that, especially for a 37-year-old quarterback? No, because he's in the later portions of his career as well. But maybe an outside quarterback who asked to be traded, who is a younger quarterback, maybe. But when does that really happen? It probably won't happen. So me personally, I wouldn't look into the trade market for a quarterback, but Omar Khan, like he said, is keeping all options on the table. Now, let's look at how aggressive Omar Khan has actually been over his tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because when you look at what he has done in his first 2 seasons with the team, you look at him, it's basically trading for Broderick Jones, so that's one trade. You would look at another trade at the deadline that they made in bringing in Preston Smith this year. He added to the defensive line, the edge group. He also brought in wide receiver Mike Williams. So he has been aggressive in terms of making trades to upgrade this team. And he was asked about those trades that he made at the deadline. And he said he would do it over and over again. That he really liked those trades, thought they could help the team. That he would make the same trades again if given the opportunity. So he has been aggressive in terms of moving up in the draft or just trading for outside talent in which he thinks could help this team. He's been aggressive, and he's willing to do that to try to help this team win. So Omar Khan, he has been aggressive, and looking at some defensive linemen the Pittsburgh Steelers may be open to training for, there's not really that much. There's one name in Josh Allen that's floating around, but I believe he'll be more of a cap casualty than a trade market guy, and he's more of an edge rusher. So I don't know really who would be available via trade. I know Myles Garrett is looking for a new team, but obviously the Cleveland Browns aren't going to be willing to trade him within the division. But if I'm the Steelers, if Matthew Stafford's going to take one first round draft pick, might as well just go see what Myles Garrett's going to go for. Maybe the Cleveland Browns will be the Cleveland Browns and trade within the division. Who knows what the Cleveland Browns will do. But if Myles Garrett's available, then sure, add him with TJ Watt. You have 2 defensive player of the years on the team. But obviously, that's going to be a big cap space. But to be honest, I was talking about Matthew Stafford being worth $50 million. Myles Garrett's making, what, $33 million? I'd rather have that $33 million on the books than have the $50 million on the books, plus give away your draft capital. So if we're looking at those options, sure, that may be available for the defense line, but will the Cleveland Browns do it? Probably not. But for the quarterback options, there's not really that much players available via the trade market. You look at free agency, that's more available in terms of maybe adding Sam Darnold and adding outside quarterback. But in terms of the trade market, the only person really available right now is Matthew Stafford. You look at the reports from like last week or the week before, one of the reports where the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to trade for Trevor Lawrence, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers are calling on the availability of him. So obviously, if those reports are coming out, that means the Pittsburgh Steelers are becoming extremely aggressive via the trade market. And I almost forgot about that one, the Trevor Lawrence one. So if they're calling around, that means they're really trying to push for a trade for a quarterback and find their guy. But Omar Khan, he's always trying to get stuff done. He's always trying to be in the works for bettering this team. And you have to respect that. That even though the Pittsburgh Steelers may not be close to a Super Bowl, in terms of the outside perspective, he thinks they are. And he's trying to make winning moves to make that extra push over the edge to win the Super Bowl. Anyway, that's the end of this video. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic of the Pittsburgh Steelers general manager Omar Khan saying that they're looking at the trade market for both the defensive line and the quarterback to upgrade this team. Who are some guys that you would want, and would you want Matthew Stafford on this team? And also, do you believe the Steelers should be open for trade? Do you think they're anywhere close to a Super Bowl to benefit this team? Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports. Everything surrounding this team this offseason, I'm covering it, just like I covered the entire regular season for the Steelers. So all the free agency news, all the draft news coming out, and all the rumors, just know I'm covering it all. So stay tuned. This is a perfect spot for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, And until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.